Hello everyone, Johnny Hurricane here from GamersHeroes.com, and why don't you sit back, relax, and let me tell you about Death's Door. Before we go any further, a review code was provided by the publisher. Death's Door begins with you arriving at work. You are a Reaper, and your job is to collect souls. You are also playing as a crow, and you work with other crows. You show up late, and you're put to work right away. First job, easy enough, gotta go collect a soul. This just happens to be the first boss and I guess technically the tutorial on how to do combat. After you beat the boss, you collect the soul for a brief moment, and then a crow pops out of a portal and knocks you out, steals your soul, and then you wake up, go back to HQ, and you're like, yo, lost my soul, or lost the soul I was going to retrieve. You did not lose your ore soul. And they're like, well, you better go get it back, because here's the thing. Reapers are immortal when they're not on the clock. You're on the clock, so you're aging. So you have to go find the soul. Long story short, you find the crow. He's already put the soul in another door, and he says, but if we can unlock that door, then we can get your soul back and we can all be free. So you have to go hunting 3 giant souls to open Death's Door. I took just over 7.5 hours to beat it, but I know there was a lot of side stuff I didn't do, so I would say it's probably like an 8 to 10 hour on average. The game is a top-down action RPG with minor Souls-like mechanics. Enemies do respawn when you die, but you don't lose your experience, so, it's not as bad. Combat is simple to use, yet difficult to master. Running in and spamming attacks won't get you far. Instead, you need to learn the enemy's patterns and jump in when they're vulnerable, get a couple of swings in, and then back out. For bosses, this can take a few attempts, but the game always felt fair. Most of my deaths came from me getting greedy and swinging 1 or maybe 2 more times than I should have. Outside of the melee combat, there is magic attacks that also act as your tools for exploration. You start with a magic bow, then you get other abilities like a hook shot and bomb. The best part about the bow was that it was always viable. It actually was, I used it the most. It was basically my boss killer. It doesn't really help with exploration. The bomb, of course, blows up walls. Hook shots, pretty self-explanatory. Go over to different hook spots. And there's a fireball, light up lamps, and open doors through that. All of them are viable in combat as well. I just prefer the bow. But when it comes to exploration, the other items are definitely key. And speaking of exploration, there's a lot to see in Death's Door. First, you have collectibles scattered throughout the world. They're called shiny things. They don't give you anything, but every time you collect one, it ends up back at Reaper HQ on the desk. So at least that happens. There's also bonus crystals to find. They will increase your HP if you find enough of them, or your magic points. But they're actually pretty hard to find. I beat the game without having more than 4 hearts, or 4 hit points, and 4 magic. So, good luck. There's also NPCs and hidden weapons. The NPCs occasionally have some interactions with them, like one of them will give you soup. And then the weapons, there's only 5 of them in the game, but each of them seemed like they were useful in different situations. I just stuck with the longsword for most part, because I got the most experience with that. Progression also comes in the form of upgrades that you get by spending your experience. For example, you can upgrade your damage, so you do more damage, your speed, so you roll faster and walk faster, magic, etc. But there's only 5 upgrades per thing, so you can only upgrade each thing 5 times, which means you're never going to be stacking any one particular stat or anything like that. And each time you get, let's say you get strength, the next time you get strength, it's going to be more expensive. So you going jack of all trades in this game is actually beneficial. But you can't upgrade your health or your magic here, so again, the exploration to find those crystals is key. That and the enemies don't give a ton of experience. It's like 2 or 3 throughout the entire game. These upgrades, I think they start at 500 and then go up to 800 and 1,000. So what would happen a lot for me is I'd run past the enemies if I didn't need to fight them. Sometimes you're locked into an arena and you have to fight enemies, but if I didn't have to fight them, I'd just run by, dodge, and hookshot, because I just didn't really see the point. It does mean that your stat upgrades got to be more tactical, right? Because you're not going to get as much, and there are orbs of experience that you can find. It's just that fighting the enemies didn't always seem necessary. And then one other thing, this irks me in any game, especially one that has exploration. There's no map, and sometimes you just get lost. It happens, and you lose time because of that. I love the world, it's great, and the soundtrack's fantastic, but I really would have liked a map. That's all I'm saying. Tech-wise, I didn't have any bugs or crashes. I did have a little bit of frame drop, but there was a lot of enemies on the screen at that point, and it was only for like 2 seconds. Anyways, let's wrap this up. For the most part, Death's Door hits it out of the park and easily a contender for Indie Game of the Year. Fans of top-down action RPGs should not hesitate to pick this one up. That'll do it for me. If you liked what you saw and got what you needed, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Later, Gators.